For the first time since the wedding, the mansion felt strangely quiet. Taehyung had left early in the morning with his men, his black car disappearing through the tall gates. The absence of his preaching guests should have felt like relief, but to you, it was worse. Without him, the walls felt heavier, the silence sharper, every sound enjoying like a threat. She sat quietly at the edge of the room, bent her delicate fingers twisting together, her lips overpeeled, her face fragile. After nights of fear and tears, Taehyung's last words before leaving still clung to her like chains. Don't forget you are mine. Even when I am here, they will be watching you. Guards were everywhere by the door, the corridor. She could hear the faint shuffle of boots outside her room. Escape was impossible. Still, she tried to convince herself to still stay calm. He's gone just for a while, she whispered to herself through her voice trembling, but her small movement of fragile peace shattered when the heavy door of her room opened. His mother, the older woman, eyes scanned her like she was filled, her lips curled in disapproval. You instinctively lowered her gaze, bowing her head politely. Come, the woman ordered coldly. If you are going to live here as his wife, you should at least learn to be useful. Your heart sank, but she opened silently, following her down to the kitchen. The mansion was too large. It felt like walking through endless halls of marble and shadows. When they reached the kitchen, the air smelled of spices and hot oil. The mother sat elegantly at the counter, giving sharp instructions while you nervously began helping the maids prepare. She tried to chop vegetables with trembling hands, but her thoughts would not stop racing. Every corner of this house felt dangerous. Every second she expected Taehyung to appear again, his cold hands gripping her, his sharp voice cutting through her. As she worked, her elbow accidentally brushed against the tall glass vase on the floor. It slipped, crashed onto the floor. The sound was deafening. You froze, her blood ran cold. The shutters glittered like knives on the floor. The mother's eyes narrowed, her voice sharp on has a vibe. Do you even know how expensive that was? I am sorry, you stammered, bending down to pick the pieces with trembling fingers. Don't touch, the mother snapped. You will only make it worse, useless girl. Tears slunk Yu's eyes, but lowered her head, shouldering her sobs. She carefully collecting the shutters, her soft hands trembling so badly. One sharp edge cut her palm. Red blood bloomed across her skin. She bit her lips, refusing to cry out. The mother watched with a cruel smile, pathetic. No wonder my son had to drag you in here. A weak, fragile little thing like you will not survive a day outside. You heart clenched. She wanted to shout that she never asked for this, that she never wanted to be his wife, that she wanted her freedom back, but the words never came. Fear locked her throat. As if the day was not cruel enough, the next accident followed quickly. One of the maids asked her to stir a pot of boiling soup. You, already trembling, reached out, but the stream blurred her vision. Her hand slipped, hot oil splashed across the back of her hand. She kept jerking back in pain, her eyes watering instantly. The burn stung like fire, turning her pale skin red. The mother's voice was sharp and mocking. Clumsy and stupid, my son doesn't deserve than this. A wife, be strong, not some fragile doll who cries over every scratch. You clench her hand to her chest, tears spilling silently. The burned hand, but the cruel words cut deeper. The guards in the hall shifted uncomfortably. at the sound of her whimper, but no one dared to step in. This was the Mafia King's mother. Her cruelty was untouchable. Hours later, when her work was finally over, you stumbled back to her room. She sat on the floor by the bed, holding her injured head tightly against her chest. She didn't want anyone to see her weakness, but the tears kept coming, her thoughts circling endlessly. Why me? Why did he choose me? She closed her eyes, trying to remember her life before this, her brother, her small room, her dreams of freedom. Even with the cruelty of her sister-in-law, at least she was free. Now she was trapped in a golden prison, wearing silk but bleeding unknee. The horse crawled by the sky outside, dark, and every tick of the clock made her heart race faster because soon he will return. And if he saw the cut on her palm or the burn on her hand, she didn't know what world he watched, his fury or his twisted obsession with keeping her safe. You curled tighter on the floor, trembling, waiting for the sound of his footsteps. And when those footsteps finally echoed down the hall, heavy and confident, she flinched so hard she nearly stopped breathing. Kim Taehyung was home. The sound of his footsteps grew louder. Your heart pounded so violently it hurt. She scrambled up from the floor, wiping her tears quickly, hiding her injured head behind her dress. The door swung open. Taehyung entered, the tall figure filling the room, his aura heavy and cold, his black shirt clenched to him, faint traces of blood still on his sleeves from whatever mission he had finished. His sharp eyes scanning the room, then landed on her fragile frame. She frozen under his gaze, breath shallow. "Come here," he said simply. His voice was low, commanding. Her legs shook, but she obeyed, taking small steps towards him. Her one hand trembled, but she kept hiding behind her. Taehyung tightened his hand, studying her closely, his eyes narrow. "Why are your eyes red?" I just," she stammered. "I was tight." He stepped closer, her heart stepped, his fingers gripped her chin, tilting her face upwards, his dark eyes scratched hers, writing every tear, every flinch, his expression harder. "You are lying." She trembled, lips parting, but no words came. Then his sharp gaze dropped. He noticed the way she held one hand behind her back, almost desperately. His voice turned razor sharp. "Show me your hand." Her throat closed. She shook her head weakly. "It's nothing now." Her breath broke slowly with trembling fingers. She revealed her hand, the badly red burn scratch across her skin, the cut on her palm still raw. The silence that followed was suffocating. Taehyung's entire body was rigid, his jaw tightening, his knuckles clenched. For a moment you thought he hit her, but then his eyes darkened with something far more dangerous. "Who did this?" His voice was calm, too calm. No one," she whispered quickly. "I dropped something. I was careless. Don't lie to me." His voice thundered, making her flinch violently. Tears split down her cheek as she shook her head. "Please, it was my fault, don't." But he was already moving. His long strides carried him out of the room, down the hallway. You gasped, running after him. "Wait, please don't," she cried, her weak voice echoing through the mansion. But Taehyung was deaf to her pleas. He stormed into the kitchen, where his mother and two maids stood, surprised by his sudden return. The tension in the room turned suffocating. His eyes were fire. "Who touched her?" The mother raised an elbow, calm and cold. "Your fragile little bride burned herself, she clumsy weak." Before she could finish, Taehyung hand slammed against the table, making the maids jump. His voice was lethal. "If anyone tries to touch her again, if anyone makes her bleed, I will make him beg for death." The maids dropped to their knees, trembling in fear. His gaze flickered to his mother, sharp and merciless. For a split second, even she fluttered under his stare. You grabbed her arm desperately, her voice trembling. "Please, stop, please. It was not their fault." He looked down at her, his rage colliding with her tears. His chest rose and fell heavy, his hand curled into a fist. Then he exhaled, slowly dragging her into his arm. His grip was tight, almost crushing. She vampire softly, but he didn't let go. "No one touched Woodsman," he growled again, her hair. "No one touched you. Not even yourself." Taehyung finally pulled back, his fingers gripping her injured head. She winced, but he ignored it, dragged her towards the bedroom. He sat her down on the bed, opening a drawer filled with medical supplies. His movements were sharp, but his eyes never left her face. "Next time," he muttered darkly, dabbing ointment onto her burn. "You tell me the second something happens." I was scared," she whispered, voice breaking. He froze for a second, then leaned closer, his face inches from hers, his eyes burned onto hers, his voice low and dangerous. "Scared of me?" He smiled faintly through his gaze, remained hard. "Good." Tears slid down her cheeks. She wanted to shout that fear was not love, that she didn't belong to him, but her voice was gone, trapped by terror. Taehyung finished wrapping her hand. His fingers brushed her skin slowly, almost tender, but the tenderness was twisted, suffocated. He pressed a kiss on the bandage, his eyes never leaving hers. "You are mine. You, every want, every tear, you give it all to me." She shivered, looking away, but he caught her chin again, forcing her to face him. "You don't have to understand it now," he whispered darkly, "but one day you will see. I am the only one who can protect you, even from yourself." Her chest tightened, her heartbeat racing painfully. His words were not love, they were chains locking tighter with every breath. And his hand cupped her face, his tongue brushing away her tears. "You realize the truth. She can't escape. He will kill anyone who hurt her, even if it means killing her piece by piece." The room was quiet but not peaceful. You sat on the bed, her injured head framed neatly in fresh bandage. Taehyung stood near the window, his tall frame bathed in shadows, his back to her. He had not spoken for several minutes. The silence was suffocating. Her heart raced faster with every second. She didn't know if his anger had pressed or if it was building like a storm inside him. Finally, he turned his gaze, eyes locked onto her, sharp and unreadable. "You are not trying to hide anything from me again," he said, voice low but firm. You swallowed hard. "I was not. I just didn't want to cause trouble." His voice cut through her weak words. He stepped closer, the weight of his presence making her shrink back against the pillows. "Do you think you belong to yourself?" Her lips parted in shock, trembling. "I don't know." He gripped the hard board beside her, leaning in close, his eyes bent onto hers, his voice a dark whisper. "You belong to me. Every want, every breath, every tear, you give them to me. You don't get to decide what I know and what I don't." Her chest tightened, the tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't dare argue. Taehyung straightened, pacing slowly across the room, his hands clasped behind his back like a predator circling prey. "From now on, there are rules." Her stomach dropped. "Rules?" The words itself felt like chains. He stopped, turning his gaze back on her. "Rule number 1. You speak only me. No conversation with guards, maids, or anyone else in this house without my permission." Her eyes widened. "But rule number 2, he cut her off sharply. "You don't Leave this room until I take you, not the garden, not the kitchen, not even the hallway. If I find you outside without me, the consequences will be worse than anything you can imagine." Her lips trembled. "Please, I can't live like a prisoner. You already are," he said coldly. Her breath hitched. He walked back to her slowly, desperately. He sat on the edge of the bed, so close she could feel the heat of his body. His hand reached for her bandage, calm, gripping it gently but firmly. "Rule number 3, he whispered, his eyes locked onto hers. "You don't hide from me. You not only injuries, not your tears, not your fears. If you are in pain, I will be the one to see it, only me." Her heart pounded painfully. The rules were not just restrictions, they were chains that cut off every escape, every piece of freedom. She still clenched to her tears, spilled silently. "Why are you doing this to me? I never asked for this. I never wanted this." His hand slid to her cheeks, forcing her to look at him. His eyes were violent, obsessive, unyielding. "Because the moment I saw you, I decided you were mine," he said darkly, "and I don't lose what belongs to me ever." She sobbing, softly shaking her head. "This is not love." He leaned closer, his lips brushing the shell of her hair, his breath sending chills down her spine. "It's my love. You don't have to understand it. You just have to live with." Her whole body shivered. Taehyung pulled back silently, studying her trembling form. Then, as if nothing had happened, he reached for a silk blanket and wrapped it over her shoulders. The gesture was tender but suffocating, care twisted into control. He stroked her hair once, almost gently, before whispering, "Sleep. Tomorrow you will be by my side." Her tears dammed the pillow as he left the room, locking the heavy door behind him. The silence that followed was unbearable. She realized with chilling clarity that the more she fought, the tighter his grip became, and now, with his rules carved into her life, you understood the truth. There was no escape, not from him, not from his obsession.